Tamil cinema and politics have been super intertwined for decades now, and the cracks in this marriage are for all to see because what was revolution once is now seen as propaganda, and oppression is seen as adhering to the letter of the law, and all of our collective angst is completely and conveniently misplaced. Vanakkam and welcome to Cinema Express. This is Avinash Ramachandran, and in this video review episode, we are going to look at director Sudha Kongara's Parasakthi, starring Sivakarthikeyan, Sreeleela, Ravi Mohan, Atharvaa, and a bunch of other actors. Make no mistake, Parasakthi, not just because of its iconic title, but also for its content, is quite the heavyweight film about the anti-Hindi imposition agitations. The themes are still pertinent, the pushback is still relevant, the fight is still required, and the wounds haven't yet healed simply because it hasn't been treated well. However, the film itself punches far below its weight and ends up as a product where intent and ambition aren't actually matched by the writing and execution. Firstly, we're introduced to Sivakarthikeyan's Cheriyan as a firebrand revolutionary who is miffed with the repeated attempts to impose Hindi in Tamil Nadu. Of course, the makers effectively point out that the fight wasn't against the language or the people speaking that language, but the imposition of the said language on the people who didn't want to speak it. This is an important assertion, and director Sudha gets the message out there almost immediately. We're also told that Cheriyan is a firebrand leader with so much reach, so much power, so much stature and whatnot, but we don't spend enough time with the character to really understand him and his team of Purananoru who are rebels with a cause. Since we are not aware of what keeps them close, despite the diversity, the final stretch of the film, which is centered around this diversity coming through in the fight against the imposition, there is a very distinct layer of disengagement. The story is simple. The film traces how students were the backbone of the anti-Hindi imposition agitations in Tamil Nadu and how the various powers that be brutally trampled upon these protesters, and yet it became an undeniable force that continues to keep this imposition at bay. There are quite a handful of scenes that capitalize on these emotions, resulting in rousing stretches unfolding. But it also made me wonder if it was the writing that made it so, or was it our personal belief system about the said imposition. Also, the build-up to these scenes and the aftermath of these moments doesn't always hit the nail on the head. This is due to the superficial nature of the politics in the film's characters. The characters are politically charged, but the film only explores it to the surface level because it's distracted by detours, including the age-old personal clash between a hero and a villain. In fact, this decision to make Parasakthi into a hero-villain conflict dilutes the theme in hand. This isn't the first time Sudha has used such a plot device to talk about systemic oppression. She loves the underdog story, and Cheriyan is the archetype of the same. But pitting him against Ravi Mohan's Thiru feels like a cop-out. Sudha Kongara can afford to have a token evil corporate villain, but Parasakthi can't, because the focus on Thiru's journey reduces the intensity of the imposition agitations. But in many ways, Thiru's flawed antagonist is a fascinating character. Imagine a Tamil guy running away from his identity to appease the majority and ending up as a confused guy that no one really cares about. There are layers to this character's journey, but it would have been better served in a different film. Despite Ravi's menacing performance, this angle only leaves a lot of other areas unexplored. There is a sense of earnestness in Sivakarthikeyan's performance in Parasakthi, and he aces the mass moments courtesy Ravi Chandran's silhouettes and well-framed elevation shots. He's also quite effective in the portions where he has to play the wizened older brother of Atharvaa, but the intensity dips a bit when it matters the most in portions like the interrogation scene and the inciting pre-interval sequence. He's a good crier but needs to get better ugly crying. He'd get there for sure. Sreeleela, when not burdened by the unnecessary romantic angle, is terrific in Parasakthi, and complete points to Sudha Kongara for giving her a character that is given just enough individual moments to shine, and Sreeleela does that brilliantly. Otherwise, the angry young man with a strong rebellious streak deserved a better treatment simply because it is his voice that continues to keep the fire of the agitation alive. Even when Cheriyan takes a back seat, due to personal reasons, we needed a better understanding of how students kept the fire alive and faced immense personal losses while trying to fight for the greater good. Parasakthi does a decent job of introducing the impact of Hindi imposition and how it was a student-fronted movement. But the film doesn't explain these enough, leaving the audience to fill in the blanks. Even the Pollachi incident reference in the film, which was an atrocious overreaches by the power that be, is relegated to a footnote. The accuracy of it all is a bit blurry, and even if that is overlooked, the very fact that the incident is overridden by a moment of triumph that unfortunately is shown as a heroic moment rather than the bloody spoils of a battle only adds to the disappointment. It is unfortunate that these missteps overshadow the writing flourishes in the film, especially the post office scene, the Aringar Anna scene, and even the much ridiculed Delhi scene featuring Indira Gandhi, which I found quite interesting. I would have loved to see more of these scenes that deal with the actual impact of the Hindi imposition in the state and why Tamil Nadu continues to oppose it and how it isn't just a matter of linguistic pride. Parasakthi would have been richer by exploring more of these scenes rather than that culmination of the last act, which is out of place, out of sync, and out of context with the agitation. But it also talks about the power of democracy and how one person's opinion will always matter, at least on paper. Basically, Parasakthi had the opportunity to be an all-important documentation of history that should have happened long before 2026. It documents the incidents, even if the censors want the people to believe these are figments of imagination. But the agitations deserved a better film, and Parasakthi couldn't just cut it in the present format. But all is not lost because evolution isn't just about one agitation or just one film. This might just be the first step in a series of films and probably even web series that talk about this dark yet illuminating chapter of Tamil history. And the Thi Paravatu. That's it from this video review episode. Do like, share, and subscribe to Cinema Express, and do let us know what you thought of the film and the review. Until we meet in the next episode, this is your friendly neighborhood critic, Avinash Ramachandran, signing off. Tata!